Are your unconscious fears controlling you? Stay tuned. This is Damon Cart from NLP Gym, stepping out of fear and into confidence. If you haven't already, please click subscribe to this YouTube channel so you can get these videos on a regular basis. Most of us enjoy hearing positive, uplifting messages. We enjoy hearing that. However, we're unlikely to move in that direction or to take action in that direction. I'm going to call that positive action. We're less likely to take positive action and more likely to take negative action. What do I mean by negative action? We're more likely to take action out of fear, take action when we believe that there is an imminent threat. And it doesn't have to be life-threatening, it could just be threatening in any sort of way or anything that triggers fear. And this is quite obvious when you see what marketing, political elections and campaigns, their main message is usually quite negative. They like to throw in the positive because people like hearing that too, but they always throw in like a harsh consequence if you don't do it. Well, here's the harsh consequence that I'm going to put out to you. If you continue to make decisions based on fear, which most of us do, if you continue down that line of looking to avoid things rather than move toward things, you have to live in a world that is full of hostility and fear, and maybe even anger, or whatever it is that you fear or that you think is a threat to you. When you move in the direction of something that's positive, you are more likely to live in a world of abundance and what you think or feel is progress or positive change and growth and what it is that you want. If you watch the news, which I tend to not watch as much anymore, you will see a lot of negativity. You'll see a lot of violence, a lot of threat, a lot of fear, because that's what gets the ratings. People want to know what they should be doing. If they see something that's positive or hear something that's positive, they often say, wow, that's great, that's all well and good, and they enjoy it. However, they're more interested in what they need to know to survive, what they need to know to protect themselves, what they need to know to prevent their life from changing in ways that they don't want them to change. Mostly what we fear is uncertainty. You've probably heard this. We fear the unknown. It's more what we fear, more so than we fear the actual threats. Most of the time when we do encounter an actual threat, we are able to get out of it, and we do pretty well. We don't often trust ourselves to do that, though, especially when the threat is unknown. If the threat is unknown, we don't know if we can trust ourselves to get through that. So really what we're fearing a lot of is the unknown. There's a sense of uncertainty. So we often will be drawn to information or information sources that are telling us more about the threat that we need to watch out for. But we're often being manipulated. We're being manipulated by people who want to sell something. We're being manipulated by marketing, in other words. And the news is no different. We're being manipulated by the news because they want the ratings. That's how they make money. So they know that if they constantly are telling us and feeding us the possible threats we need to watch out for, then we're going to watch that. If it was just nothing but positivity and all the wonderful things that are happening in the world and things that you can do to get more of what you want, people wouldn't tune in as much. Most people are not motivated to action by positivity. They're motivated to action by negativity, by the threats, by the fears. Imagine if you had all the life skills to experience the certainty, and not 100% certainty, there's no guarantees in life, but imagine if you had the life skills that you were pretty certain you could handle anything. That's what NLP can do. NLP is those essential life skills that you can cultivate and get a sense that, yeah, pretty much I can handle anything. At a certain point, hopefully you realize that it doesn't matter how much you learn, how much more you learn about all the possible things that could harm you and threaten you, that these things are just, they start to be made up. And not that they're 100% made up, there's some truth to it when you watch the news. There's some truth to it sometimes in marketing. But you have to be careful. What are you feeding your brain? If you're feeding your brain nothing but fear and threat, and you're only taking action on that rather than feeding your mind with the things that you want and things that are uplifting and progressive and positive and moving in that direction, What kind of life are you living? What kind of world do you live in? You would have to be living in a world that is full of threat and that there's not much good in. I choose to live in a world that is full of positivity, full of abundance, that's uplifting and enjoyable and fun. I certainly acknowledge the threats and I acknowledge my fears. I don't pretend like they don't exist. You need to at least acknowledge those things so that there are threats and fears that you do need to watch out for. But imagine instead of taking action on only the things that you fear, that you take action on the things that you want, the things that are going to make your life better, that's going to improve your quality of life. What would your life be like when you do that? Confidence comes with certainty. What we're trying to achieve when we watch a lot of violent movies, when we watch news that has a lot of negative messages, when we pay attention and take action on marketing or buying products from marketing that is negative, what we're attempting to do is gain some sense of certainty about our world, about the threats, about what actually threatens us, about our fears. But it doesn't work that way, because the more you feed your mind with these negative messages and these threatening and fearful messages, the more you're counteracting that, the more you're making yourself feel less certain and more fearful and less confident, even though what you're being drawn to is to attempt to make yourself more certain and more confident. So you're really working against yourself here. When you instead move in the direction of what you want and feed your mind with information that's going to help you get what you want, and feed your mind with information that lets you know that you do live in a world that has a lot of positivity in it, that has a lot of great and wonderful things about it, and a lot of abundance. When you start to feed your mind with that, then you experience a greater sense of confidence and certainty about what it is that you want and who you are as a person, and the journey that you're on, and the adventures you're seeking, and all the outcomes that you're trying to create. When you live in that world, you will experience more of that. You will experience more confidence. You will experience more certainty. We're always going to have a certain amount of uncertainty. It would be arrogant to say that we don't. It would be arrogant to say that we know everything and that we're certain about everything. That's never going to happen, and you're fooling yourself if you think that you can get to that point. That's not the point of this. The point is to be more certain about who you are, and that's what NLP helps you do. You learn essential life skills that gives you a sense, with good reason, that you can handle pretty much any situation that comes your way. And if you can't, well, you were as prepared as you possibly could be. And sometimes, we encounter situations that we can't handle, and we can reach out for help. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But constantly feeding your mind with threats and fearful messages and threatening messages and things that you gotta watch out for and be careful of and be fearful of, that puts you in a world of fear. That puts you in a world of threat. And that makes us make fearful choices, or gets us to make choices out of fear and out of uncertainty. And if you look at marketing, if you look at political campaigns, the ones that usually win are the ones that are more fear-based. And so people, because it just works. There's that part of us that goes deep inside of us that's very unconscious, that is constantly sorting for the things that might threaten us and that we might need to fear. Those threats are not that real, or not that likely, but if you watch enough TV, or if you watch movies or marketing that is constantly filling your head with those messages of threat, you can be in the safest place in the world and you're still going to feel threatened, and you're still going to feel fearful, and you're still going to make choices out of fear, when you could look around and there isn't really anything that's threatening you. Step out of the fear and step into the confidence of knowing more about who you are and what it is you want. Knowing what you want and what your values are tell you a lot more about who you are than seeking to understand more of the threats that don't really threaten you that much. That's going to make you feel unstable. That's going to make you feel uncertain and insecure. Move in the direction of understanding who you are through your values and what it is you want, and creating good strategies to get what you want. You will learn so much more about yourself, and the more you learn about yourself, the more certain you will feel about yourself, and the more certain you will feel about entering new situations instead of feeling threatened. Step out of fear, step into confidence. Check out our website, nlp-gym.com. Follow us on Facebook for real-time updates on upcoming workshops and free practice sessions that I hold right here in Santa Cruz, California. If you like this video, please click like right down here and leave me a comment or a question. I will follow up with you. Stay tuned to the end of this video so you can see how you can get your hands on a free NLP online training. Take care.